Hi everybody, hope you're fine. Today we are looking at how to use with good conditions the D.V.S part. So I introduced this part, the D.V.S part, in another video. If you want to know what is, you will have the link directly under the description. So this second part is how to use D.V.S in good conditions. So what are the steps to do if you don't want to have any problems, any issues in this utilization. So first, it's a physical stuff. The first step is to have good settings about your turntable. Maybe the weight, maybe the cartridge. You have to know that if you have some dust in the cartridge, if you have used cartridge or used cable, not good cable, and your weight is not very good set, you will probably not have a good setting for your D.V.S, your D.V.S signal. So you have to check all those things if you want to have a good signal. Secondary, when you have sound card or a mixer with a sound card, you have to check the latest update for your table with a sound card or for your sound card. For your drivers, the firmware of your sound card or your mixer with a sound card, you have to make the update if you don't want to have any problem. Or if you have any problems, maybe it's why the sound card is not up to date or something like that. Second point. First point, you have to watch your switch directly on your sound card or mixer, because you will see you will have phono input, line input, and for example like that. So you can hear your D.V.S signal like that. And you have to be in USB to control the software. After, some mixers or some sound cards have a little utility settings part, and you have to see if everything is good, like the channel 141, 242, etc. If you use a turntable with phono output, you have to choose phono, for example, line for line, etc. The rec out if you need to record your mix, everything like that. After, next step, you have to you have to watch directly on the software. Some softwares have these settings and others not, but you have to watch every part of your software configuration to see if every settings is good. So for example, for Serato DJ, you have to choose if you use turntables or CD player. You see, if I put my D.V.S signal and I put CDG, there is nothing. But I can use this setting if I use CD player like CDG 1000 and Mic 3, for example. But now I'm using turntable, so I have to go to turntable here. This one. After this part, you see this little green signal here. Normally, you don't have to push any to change any settings in this part when you have good signal. You know, I told you a good cartridge, a good cable, etc., etc. But sometimes, it's very bizarre, but sometimes when you use a dirt cartridge, or your weight is too hard or too low to put on the turntable, you will have a problem that your signal will be inverted. It's not the software, it's your settings that are not very good. And you will see it's very strange, but sometimes people have this invert problem, and they had this because your RCA are invert. You know, the white is on the red and the red is on the right. You see, I have a good signal here. When I will invert my RCA, my cable, you will see like that in relative mode. You see, I am in my music is inverted. So think about this stuff. Some people, I had the questions like that. Some people invert their cable and will have this problem. So when I put it normally, I have my signal normally. And the last part is the free mode of your software. Sometimes you will control your software with a controller, and your software will be in internal mode like that. And when you put your signal, you will see no response. You will do what you want, no response, because you're not on absolute and relative mode. In my last video of the D.V.S. part, I explained to you what are the difference between absolute and relative. The main difference is that absolute, for 3 minutes on your turntable, there will be 3 minutes on your software. Like that. If I put this here, you will be in the middle of at the end of the track. If you put in the beginning, you will be in the beginning. And when you want to use relative mode, is when you have to put some odd cues or some loop, because when you put some odd cues or loop, you will not have the same time as the record. You know, if you are at maybe 3 minutes and you put a loop, you will be always at 3 minutes in the 1-bit loop, for example, in the software, but the record still play. So maybe you are at 3 minutes and a half. So it's not the same time. Some software switch between absolute and relative. Normally when you do something, a hot cue, something like that. But it's not, for my example, it's not the case of Serato. And I need to push a button or to push on the screen the relative part. You see? When I engage a hot cue, there is no response. I have to push relative to have my hot cues and loop. So a lot of time you will be in relative because you will use a lot of hot cues, lot of slicer, loop, etc., a lot of roll. So maybe it's a good way to use always relative mode with the D.V.S. part. It's done. So if you follow all the steps in this video when you are beginning the D.V.S. part, you will be in the good way to use it properly with no problems. So if you have any questions about this D.V.S. part, feel free to ask on the video, and see you next content. Bye bye. Take care, everyone.